In a quiet Lancaster County farmstead, the lights have been running on the same battery bank for over 4 decades, with no grid connection, no generator backup, and no sign of stopping. The family who built that off-grid power system never called it anything special. To them, it was simply the right way to do it once, so they would never have to do it again. While the rest of the world burns through batteries every few years, this system just keeps going. And the reason why comes down to a handful of decisions made on day one that almost nobody today ever thinks about. Those decisions are not complicated, they are not expensive. They were figured out over a century ago by a man the entire battery industry quietly decided to forget. That man was Thomas Edison. And this is the story of the nickel-iron battery they buried. In 1901, Thomas Edison was furious, not because his invention failed, because it worked too well. He had spent years developing what he called the iron nickel storage cell, and when he finally released it through the Edison Storage Battery Company, he believed it was the last battery anyone would ever need to buy. He was not wrong. The nickel-iron battery, which engineers today also write as the NiFe cell, can survive things that would destroy any lead-acid battery or lithium-ion battery inside a single season. Full discharge down to 0. It handles it without complaint. Overcharging, it absorbs it, left sitting unused for years. It comes back to full capacity when you charge it again. So why have you never heard this pushed by the people selling you power storage? Follow the money and the answer gets uncomfortable fast. The battery industry today is worth over $120 billion annually, and the single biggest driver of that revenue is replacement. Not first purchase, replacement. A battery that lasts a century is not a product in that model. It is a catastrophe for the business model. By the 1950s, the lead-acid battery had captured the automotive market, and the industrial lobby surrounding it had little interest in seeing a competing chemistry thrive. Edison died in 1931. His battery patents aged out, and the nickel-iron cell quietly disappeared from mainstream catalogs, filed away like an inconvenient truth nobody needed to advertise. That is not a flaw in the system. That is the system working exactly as intended. Now here is where the Amish enter the story, and this is the part that deserves your full attention. Old order Amish communities do not operate on the grid, but they are not primitive about power either. Many communities permit battery banks to run specific low-voltage DC systems, lights, small appliances, and farm equipment controls, as long as those systems carry no tie to the public utility network. And because the Amish think in generations rather than product cycles, the chemistry they gravitated toward was the one that matched their philosophy: nickel-iron batteries. When a family in Holmes County, Ohio builds a battery bank for their off-grid power system, they are not thinking about the next 5 years. They are thinking about who inherits the farm. An Amish battery bank built in the 1970s and properly maintained is still in daily service today in multiple documented cases. The Lancaster County family in the opening of this video is not an anomaly. It is a pattern. So what actually makes the nickel-iron battery different at the chemical level? This is the mechanism that changes everything, and it is genuinely elegant once you see it. Chapter: Iron Anode versus Lead Plate. Chemistry. A standard lead-acid battery uses lead plates submerged in sulfuric acid. Every time you charge and discharge it, the plates corrode, sulfate crystals build up on the surface, and a little more capacity is permanently lost. It is a slow, irreversible decay built directly into the chemistry. There is no fixing it. The nickel-iron battery uses an iron anode and a nickel oxide cathode suspended in a potassium hydroxide solution, and here is the critical difference. Iron and nickel oxide do not corrode in potassium hydroxide the way lead corrodes in sulfuric acid. The plates stay structurally intact through thousands of cycles. The electrolyte, the liquid the plates sit in, does not get consumed or contaminated the way acid does. It simply needs topping off with distilled water every few months, the same way your grandfather topped off the water in his car battery, except the iron anode just keeps cycling without sulfating and dying. The potassium hydroxide solution, the technical name is KOH, maintains a stable alkaline environment where the iron anode and nickel oxide cathode cycle indefinitely without the degradation that kills every other chemistry. Sulfate crystals form on a lead plate and begin strangling it within months. The iron anode just sits there, doing its job decade after decade. Chapter: Edison's nickel-iron battery history. Edison's own test units, documented by the USDA Bureau of Standards in their 1910 publication titled Tests of an Edison Storage Battery, were still delivering over 80% of their original capacity after more than 10,000 charge cycles. 10,000 cycles? A standard lead-acid battery gives you somewhere between 300 and 500 before it starts fading. A premium lithium-ion battery, even with careful management, gets you somewhere around 2,000 cycles under ideal conditions. The nickel-iron battery that Edison's company put on the market laughed at both of those numbers. Now here is the honest caveat, because this channel does not deal in miracle cures. Nickel-iron batteries have real limitations, and anyone selling you a perfect picture is not being straight with you. They are inefficient compared to modern lithium-ion battery technology. Where a lithium-ion battery might return 95% of the energy you put in, a nickel-iron cell returns closer to 65 to 70%. That means the solar panels charging your off-grid power system need to be sized larger to fill the same bank. A solar charge controller feeding a nickel-iron bank also needs to be matched carefully to that lower charge efficiency, something worth factoring into your budget from day one. The cells also self-discharge faster when sitting idle, losing roughly 20 to 30% of charge per month if unused. And they are heavy. A serious nickel-iron bank is not something you move around. It goes in one place and stays there, which is exactly why it suits a farmstead and not a portable application. What the nickel-iron battery is specifically is the best possible choice for a stationary off-grid power system where longevity matters more than efficiency and where the people who built it intend to still be using it when their grandchildren are adults. That is a specific use case, but it is a powerful one. So how does the setup actually work in practical terms? A nickel-iron cell produces approximately 1.2 volts, which is slightly lower than a lead-acid cell at 2 volts per cell. To build a 24-volt bank, a common voltage for a modest off-grid system, you need 20 cells wired in series. New nickel-iron cells from reputable manufacturers run between $15 and $25 per ampere hour of capacity. A solid starter bank of 200 ampere hours at 24 volts will cost somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000 upfront. That sounds steep until you run the math against a lead-acid battery replacement cycle. A comparable lead-acid battery bank at 200 ampere hours needs replacing every 4 to 6 years at roughly $1,500 to $2,000 per replacement. Over 40 years, you spend between $13,000 and $20,000 just keeping the lead-acid bank alive. The nickel-iron bank from year one. One purchase. For the rest of the time you own the property. The Amish figured out the 40-year math a long time before anyone else started running the numbers. Maintenance is simple and honest. Check the electrolyte level every 6 to 8 weeks and top off with distilled water, never tap water, because minerals will contaminate the KOH solution. Fully discharge and recharge the bank completely once a year, which keeps all cells balanced. Keep the terminals clean and the connections tight. That is genuinely the entire maintenance list. No load testing, no desulfation pulses, no memory management routines, none of the digital babysitting that a lithium-ion battery management system demands. Here is the layer that even most off-grid enthusiasts miss entirely. The original Edison storage battery company cells from the early 1900s used a specific plate construction where the active material was packed into perforated steel tubes rather than flat plates. That tubular pocket design is why those cells survived. It physically contained the active material so that even as the iron anode cycled through thousands of charges, the iron and nickel oxide had nowhere to go and nothing to flake off. Contemporary nickel-iron cells that replicate the original tubular construction outperform flat plate versions by a significant margin in lifespan testing. When you are sourcing cells, ask specifically whether the construction is tubular pocket or flat plate. The tubular pocket is the Edison original design. It is the one that earns the century claim. The nickel-iron battery is not new technology waiting to be discovered. It is old technology that was allowed to be forgotten. And there are families in Lancaster County and Holmes County running their farms on it right now. today, without a thought of replacing it anytime soon. Drop a comment below and tell me what your current power storage setup looks like and what your biggest frustration with it has been. And in the next video, we are going into the component that sits upstream of the battery bank, the solar charge controller setup those same Amish communities use to fill these banks from wind and gravity, with a design that has not meaningfully changed since 1887. That one is worth waiting for.